We are Steve and Jill.
Together, we've been buying and reselling land since the 90s.
Our data-centric approach leaves our buyers asking, how can you sell it so cheap?
Here on the Land Academy Show,
We answer that and more. I'm Steve and Jack Butala.
And I'm Jill DeWit, and this is the Land Academy Show.
And today we have a couple of topics. We're going to talk about first, improving land due diligence. We've got the 6 A's already. We have formally added the 7th and 8th A.
It feels kind of weird.
It does. I agree. But I promise it's good.
Do you know, as we're working on new content for 2024, I'm here. Hey, spoiler alert, this isn't it. So I've been dropping nuggets in our community about stuff coming in 2024. And one of the reasons you're in our community and you're listening right now is because of our experience and who we are, the number of deals we've done, and how we can watch. We know the trends. We lived the trends. We can spot things that are coming, and we can adjust, and we can come up with things that are going to help you that nobody else has or knows about, because you don't have it unless you have this. This is called gray hair. Mine, you'll never hopefully see my gray hair if I do this right.
I've got enough for both of us.
Here we go. We'll show his gray hair. Mine you won't see, but trust me, it's there.
You want experience.
That's it. But my point today was the 7th and the 8th A are not really the whole, 2024 new content. No, we got some stuff that is really important to professional land investors like you.
We're adjusting with the business.
Mm-hmm. And
then a little bit later in the show, we'll talk about the truth about the actual real amount of money that you can make in the land business. Mm-hmm. It's not $1 billion and it's not 13 cents. It's somewhere very healthily in the middle. Each week on the show, we answer questions from the Land Academy member Discord forum, and we review land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar. We take a deep dive into the 2 land-related topics by popular request, like I just mentioned. If you want a sneak peek on our Discord forum, go to landacademy.com. It's free.
All right. So let's see. Greg wrote, I just closed on my first unintentional wholesale. I'm waiting to see. Let me see if it tells me what he means by wholesale here, because there's 2 meanings. I sent out a photographer during the due diligence period, and he stirred up the neighbor accessing the property via right of way through the neighbor's land. He stirred up the neighbor by accessing the property via the right of way, which was on the neighbor's property. Got it. The neighbor suggested a double close and then made an offer to buy it right from me. Like, let's just do it. I'll give you this. I would have liked to have gotten more for it, but heck, since I didn't put any money down at all, I didn't put any money into it, we just did it all at one time, I'll take the proceeds with a check for $16,000.
So let me paraphrase what happened here, which I think is really, really healthy. Yeah. Greg puts the property under contract for, let's say, I'm just going to use round numbers, $10,000. And it's in escrow. He orders a photographer to go out there because he's prepping to sell it on the sell side, or maybe the real estate agent that he has, but probably not. He probably just got a photographer. Mm-hmm. Photographer goes out there. The neighbor says, "What the heck are you doing?" "Oh yeah, well I'm taking pictures of this property. Here's the guy that hired me to take the pictures. His name's Greg." Hands the phone number to the neighbor, and the neighbor calls him and says, "Are you kidding? For $26,000, I'll write you a check right now." So now Greg doesn't have to write the $10,000 check at all. He just transfers the transaction in escrow to the new buyer, which is the neighbor, and then collects the difference between $10,000 and $26,000, I guess.
Yeah, that's 16 grand. Right out of escrow. So yeah.
Yeah, in or out of escrow.
Uh-huh.
There are some people that make this their business. It's called wholesaling. Incorrectly labeled as wholesaling, but that's what it's called.
Right.
And it's very appealing. There's a lot of pros and cons to this. I don't like it at all. I would rather control the transaction because maybe the property is worth a lot more.
Here's the crazy thing, because that neighbor could have easily not called Greg and just called the seller directly, called the owner of the other property directly and said, "What's going on? I'll buy it from you for that price."
You have no control.
$5,000.
No control over the deal.
Yeah, they could have gone around you. So
this had a happy ending.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we have people in Career Path that this is how they conduct business. nationwide. And if you have 400 deals going on at any given time, and you're closing
10%,
10 or 20 or 30% of them, it's a real good living.
Work.
It's just there's a lot of this is very much frowned upon, and I don't believe this business model is going to be around forever. There's a lot of trickery and dishonesty just by the property.
Well, just things can go wrong. It's not even like it's not I'm going to say not everyone. It's not that everyone's not being truthful or trying to trick someone. It's just that too many things can go wrong. That's it. If you believe in the property, buy it. If you don't waste your time. And if you believe in the property and you don't have the money, come to me. I do. Show me why it's great. And if it is great, I got the money. We'll do it together. And then we don't have to worry about any of this. So, but I love that question. That was a good story and a good happy ending. And it was like, I didn't mean to do it, but I'm not going to, look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm going to take the money and go. Like, that worked out great.
This exact thing has happened to Jill and I several times in our career.
Yeah.
And we've always said yes. Mm-hmm. I don't seek it out, but it happens.
And I've been the person doing that. We've had deals come our way like, I don't really want to fund this property. I kind of want this property. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but I'll just pay you and then I'll take the deal. They're like, sure, done. It's good.
Today's first topic, improving land due diligence with the 7th and the 8th A's. There's no way we can talk about this without first talking about what the A's are, 1 through 6. This is a methodology that I came up with a lot of years ago about assessing a property. And so you want to uniformly assess all the properties that you're looking at. If you're looking at 5 deals all at once, you want to kind of say, let's put them into a box and judge them equally, each property along the same scenarios. And so I came up with the 6 A's.
Can I go back and go? There were really 4.
Yeah.
Because I want to give a little more of the history. So yeah, what is this? Like Jack just said, when you're doing your due diligence and you're looking at all these properties, what's important? So Jack taught me there were 4 A's in the beginning. This is what you need to make sure they have. If they have all 4 A's, then move forward. Access.
The original 4.
These are the original 4, because I want to talk about this because this is really kind of cool. This is what I learned. So back then, access, it was either, and it was really back then, do I have legal or physical? Back then, I take either. Now I want both kind of thing. It's a whole different thing. But, if I couldn't see, at least I could see a road kind of thing. So that's access. Acreage. And back then, the bigger the better. That was, what was our thoughts. Now it really depends on what I mailed for. So access, acreage, affordable. Does the money work? That sure makes a difference. Duh. And then attributes, like what's around there. And it was not just seeing the ranches nearby and what's possible, but is there something special about it? It's got a creek. Is it near Vegas, or fill in the blank? What's something?
Land that's being farmed? Is there an old barn on it? Is there a water feature running through the back?
Yeah.
Anything that makes it not just a regular piece of land with no attributes.
Yeah. And so for years we went on with our 4 A's, and then I popped up with the one that like, this is slowing me down. So I came up with 5, and you came up with 6, 7, and 8. Do you want me to add number 5?
Sure.
Okay, I'll add number 5 and I'll let him do the 6, 7, 8. So I came along and I said, I got an A that will kill every deal. if it doesn't work. And he's like, well, what is it? I'm like, it's alive. So if the people on the deed are not walking around this planet and alive, it may kill your deal. That, depending on, is there a probate issue? You understand where I'm going here. If there's some legalities that I can't easily transfer the property, needs to do probate, or we don't know where this cousin is, or fill in the blank kind of thing. Not everyone on the deeds here and able to sign, that will kill it. So that was number 5 for me. And then you did 6, 7, and 8.
So back to alive just for 1 second. This is really significant. If you're heavily into the land business or any type of real estate business, you know that the person that owns the property, who's on the deed, or signs for the entity that owns it, a trust or an LLC, they need to be alive. If it's not impossible to get the deal done, what it's going to do is dramatically slow it down. And what happens is
money too.
What happens is whoever's thinks they're in control of the deal, They are alive, but they might be the heirs to the person on the deed.
True.
What they believe is probably not true.
True.
And so they're very frustrated by the time they get to you about, why can't I just get this deal done and get some money out of it?
Right.
There's been 3 people before you. And they weren't willing to go through the stuff. So there's a huge opportunity for you to solve the alive piece. And it's very state specific. Some states make it easy, some states don't. Alive matters. And your first choice is Sally Smith is on the deed. And you're looking at it, she's the owner, and you're talking to Sally
her.
Smith.
Exactly.
That's alive.
Yep.
Number 6 is adjacent. What's immediately adjacent are all, let's theoretically think there's just 4 adjacent properties to every property, all 4 sides. If all 4 properties are single family residences in the sale price range between $300,000 and $325,000, you can pretty well guarantee that that's going to be the use for that property. And so now it makes it easy. All these this $325,000, a house is going to go on this property. All the adjacent, it fits. I can pay 10 to 15% wholesale pricing or acquisition pricing for that property, which ends up being about $30,000. If you're staring at a purchase agreement at $60,000, this all can happen in 13 seconds. It's just too high. It has to be around 10% of the value of that house. And adjacent's beautiful. Mm-hmm. Adjacent actually changed how we buy property. What you don't want to see with adjacent is, here's a piece of property, it's got all the other A's, and there's nothing there.
Right.
I mean, it is in a very, very rural area of, let's say, like Wisconsin or Arizona, and it's just nothing but land there and no real traffic counts and all of that. I'm not saying it's valueless, and I'm not saying you can't flip that, because we have flipped lots of property like this. It has to be so cheap that whatever you're about to sell it for on the other side of the deal, you're forcing people to buy it because it's so cheap. That's the thought they're having in your head. Yeah, I don't like the property very much, but it's 10% of what all these other properties have sold for over the last few years. Recently, Jill and I, somewhat out of frustration, came up with the 7th and the 8th A, due diligence. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with the property itself. In fact, it doesn't. It has to do with the person, meaning you, who's buying the property or thinking about buying the property. The 7th A is afraid. So as a percentage, are you afraid to do this deal? Because I'll tell you, we only do deals, Jill and I, at this point in our career. And I'm not suggesting that you do this, but this is where we are in our career, where we're not afraid at all. Mm-hmm. Where we're looking at the deal saying, what am I doing wrong? This is the greatest deal I've ever seen. And we need to buy this fast. Mm-hmm. We need to get control of this property and then throw up a great posting on the internet with the real estate agent that Jill chooses and really make some money on it. We're 0% afraid on those deals.
For you landladies like me, that means your stomach is not doing knots kind of thing.
Does your stomach do knots?
Sure. That's the easiest way for me to tell. I'm like, something's not right here. Or you just have that spidey sense that I'm not sure about this. Comps are all over the place. This could be on the wrong side of the tracks. I talked to a couple brokers and 2 are really low and 1's really high. I'm trying to figure out who's right, who's not right here. You're just not feeling it. That's afraid. You need to have confidence.
If you're 50% afraid of the deal, you have to ask yourself why. Why do I like this deal only half?
Right.
Well, I like the adjacent. I like the access. It's a big property. I love the acreage, but I'm not sure about the price. So I'm a little bit afraid. If this deal was priced at $20,000 instead of $50,000, then I would be 0% afraid. There's your answer.
So what a lot of people do? They come up with afraid. You know what they're afraid of? Not doing a deal. They're like, well, this is the best one I've got, so I'm going to do this one, which is the wrong answer too, by the way.
Well, that taps into the 8th A, which is abundance. If you send a mailer out, and at the end of the mailer or at the point in the mailer where you think it's kind of run its course, or at least the first phase of its course, and you're looking at 2 deals. The seller said, yep, I want to sell. One person signed it for the number that you sent it out. And one person came back and said, yeah, not for 14,000, but 20. I'll take 20,000. And so now you have 2 deals to look at. That's not abundance. You want 10, 20 deals where you're staring at this saying, of these 20 deals that came back on this mailer, I'm going to pick the best 2 where I have 0% afraid.
Well, how much mail is that, Jack?
I don't know. And that's the real question.
I'll tell you what it isn't. 100, 1,000, maybe even 2,000. That's not enough, you guys. You need to send some mail, especially not sub 1,000.
Well, and it needs to be priced right. Yeah. And you go through Land Academy, all the steps, the critical steps to make sure that your mailer or your series of mailers, better yet, is creating an abundance of acquisition opportunities so you can get to 0% afraid.
And you're not wasting time and money guessing.
We see a lot of people who are new in this business, Jill and I. They fight this.
Mm-hmm. Well, I listened to all the podcasts. I got it.
You need it to have abundance for this to really, truly, for you to soak some real wealth out of it. Mm-hmm. You don't want to stare at 2 deals and then start to have thoughts like, well, I can forego access. Everything else I love about the deal. Right.
So what if I can't get there?
And so now you're making these 2 deals work somehow, or one of the 2 deals, instead of looking at 20 and saying, oh my, it's so clear to me that these 20 over here really work. So, well, what's the trick? What's the trick to getting abundance? There's 3 main components to getting where you clearly have abundance. Number 1, you know how to do a mailer and you know how to price it. Number 2, and I can't express this enough, the person that's answering the phone or doing the deal, in this case it's Jill, you have a tremendous amount of confidence in that person. Maybe it's you. Hopefully in my case, it's not me. In most cases, it's you, that you can convert and create real estate deals. Because no matter how many mailers you send out, you're going to get some response. Mm-hmm. It's your job to convert that response into a real estate deal. Some of it's going to be liquid anger. Some of it's going to be sign it and send it back. And so that's very critical. The third part is the mailer's got to be big enough, because you can't, if you send out 150 mailers, you will not get abundance. Mm-hmm. You will start convincing yourself to do a deal, and you don't want that.
Correct.
This really is, there's a lot of moving parts to this, but it's crazy profitable.
Let's take a look at one of our favorite land acquisitions from one of our weekly Thursday member webinars.
Would you do Steele, Kalaska County, Michigan? Oh, this is going to be good. Everyone's alive, 5 acres at the end of a cul-de-sac. I love that what you put the attributes. Adjacent, yes. Affordable, yes. Proposed cash price, $19,900.
Wow.
Huh. Okay, hold please. It's 5 acres. I thought it was bigger than 5 acres.
Great.
Okay.
Great posting.
Yeah.
So Jill and I were just here.
What is with the axis again?
This is Traverse City.
Yeah.
We were just here, all in this area.
Uh-huh. Oh, I see. Oh, at the end of the cul-de-sac. So that's not, is that public?
Hopefully it's not. There's no gate where to check. Oh no, this is great.
Oh, it has an address. Huh. Why did they get an address for it?
She says it was on the MLS a while ago.
That's why there's an, okay, that makes me think that.
So let's look at that first.
Okay, cool.
Oh man, I'm going to defer to Jill and Brandon on this.
I'm not going to buy it at 19 when they couldn't sell it at 19.
Yep.
I'll buy it for 5.
Yep.
And I will personally, I like it for fun. This is where our, 9,500 is the accepted offer. Oh,
darn it.
Oh, thinks we could sell it for 9. Oh, she wants it. Well,
they tried it. They tried at 20. And we're in a less desirable market than it was back when it was listed. And the other thing too is
5.
There's a huge disparity, because we were there and I was studying this market. There's a substantial disparity in northern Michigan between the price of land and the price of finished houses. Usually it's pretty, you can make sense of it. And so I'm not sure why. Let's look at what's available around there. Yeah, this is what I mean. So she could buy this for 10 grand and there are 2 houses north of it has this estimate of 225. So that would tell you that it's safe to pay $20,000. But I don't think it is. I just don't, because we just drove there and there's so much land available. And I'll tell you, my sister is like we couldn't go anywhere in the town of Traverse City without, my sister's a celebrity real estate agent. I had no idea until we got there how serious it was. Like, we talked about real estate a lot while we were there. And she said, land, it just is hard to buy. It's hard to make sense of it from a money standpoint. She certainly won't take any land listings because it's not worth her time. And this kind of just notes it. Like, I just think there's so much dirt here. And everybody, including me, wants to be right on a lake. And you can still get cheap property because there's just nothing but lakes around here. So I wouldn't. Would you buy it for 5? There's a ton of county roads all over that part of Michigan too. And this doesn't have the greatest access. It's got that little cul-de-sac end thing. I think you'd be setting yourself up for trouble.
For $5,000, I'd let it ride, and the right person was going to go, "Yay, this is great!" But it might take 18 months. I don't know.
Or even the neighbor might buy it for 10 or something.
Exactly. Totally agree.
Hey, the end of the year is coming up.
Yeah.
What does that mean for us?
Well, Land Academy's closed right now. Sorry, but there's a wait list.
Look how happy she is.
I know. Well, it's we have a really amazing elite group of people doing amazing deals, not just learning. They're doing the deals. And we need to give them the attention and the focus and the help that they deserve. And in order to do that, I have to limit capacity. Yeah. So that's it. And it's closed right now. Can you find out more? Yes. Can you talk to someone on my team about it? Sure. Is there a wait list if you're like, I already know? Can I just get in the queue for when you guys reopen? Yes. Go to landacademy.com. See the join menu at the top. And we'll get you. You can at least get your questions answered and get on the wait list. And we'll let you know when it opens back up.
Let's take another question posted by one of our members on the Land Academy Discord channel. Again, if you want a sneak peek, please go to landacademy.com. It's free.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Aaron, is this right, Aaron? Okay, Aaron wrote, I'm used to old mobile homes, but would you hesitate to buy a property with an old one like this? 4 acres on a lake. Just the lot is worth a minimum of $80,000 cleaned up. I don't know what that means.
It means there's structures on it and stuff.
Okay. Like,
you have to,
does 80,000, does it mean, you say cleaned up, Aaron, I'm like, are you going to landscape it? What are you going to do?
You have to sort of braille your way through these questions.
I kind of want to know what it's going to be not cleaned up, because that's usually how I roll. So,
what he means is there's structures and a bunch of crap on there.
Like old cars.
And it's worth $80,000.
All right.
If it's all removed.
Okay. He's getting it for $8,000, but here's what it has. A 120-year-old brick house, and there's a lot of crap on the property. House is a wreck, looks expensive to remove to me. Still, this should be a no-brainer, right? Oh, and yes, it snowed already. Okay. So wherever this is, it's going to be a problem.
These are good problems to have, and about 20 people replied to this in our group.
I would totally, based on what I'm reading right now, I'd buy it.
I would not have even written this in Discord. I would have bought it so fast. And that's what every other Land Academy member in Discord said. And really experienced ones too.
For $8,000, and see what happens.
And you should see the structures. It's nice. They're not, this isn't a bombed out mobile home. This is like an old school.
That's what he needs to know too. Don't move things. It all gets a wreck, expensive to remove. I mean, all this stuff don't leave it alone.
Yep.
Leave it, make it look as good as you can in your photos and the blue sky and all that good stuff, because someone's going to come along and probably they just might use it in its current, use it and make it better kind of thing. Not move it, but at least give them the option.
It's the exact opposite of what's been drilled into our brains.
Yeah.
About on HGTV.
True.
Make it look pretty. It's worth more.
Yeah.
That is not the case with land. There's a few exceptions. There's a couple exceptions where you need to do a clearing to get to some beautiful water feature in the back. I understand that. Leave all the crap there. The type of people that buy vacant land. Picture a guy with a beard, probably has a gun collection. And in most cases, not infill lots, but lots like this. They wait for this to come on the market. Yeah. They revel in it. It really creates a lot of value.
Totally.
Today's second topic, the truth about the real amount of money to be made in the land business. This topic came from a recent, Jill and I teach a class called Career Path, which is kind of a high-end class for people who want to get to the next level and make this their career, or they already are making it the career, they want to make more money. And this came about because we were looking at the bell curve and performance, financial performance in this industry. And I want to be really clear about this because I think there's a lot of misinformation, mostly from people that have, for whatever reason, think they know a lot about buying and selling land online, and they're ready to teach, they're ready to teach you, the unsuspecting person, they have no real experience. And so I'm telling you, you are not going to get a Ferrari by buying and selling land the first few years that you do it. You're not going to ever make $1 billion buying and selling land. And this is not a side hustle. There's nothing side business about this in general. And it's not anything that you can do with any serious amount of part-timeness and and really make some money. This is something you need to make a commitment to. You need to be into it. Like, we're land people. We have an RV. Every time we have any amount of time off, we dust that thing off and go out and look at land, and we play on the land and all of that. And the people that make real money have that type of personality. So here's the deal. If you send out 10,000 letters a month, it's going to cost you about $5,000 to do that ish, between postage and everything else. So now you got 10,000 units going out, 120,000 units a year. You should be able to buy 1 to 3 properties that are 0% afraid properties every month. And you should be able to make between 50 and, let's say, $100,000 a property. So let's say you do 1 deal a month and you send out 10,000 units, maybe 15,000 just to be safe. You make $50,000 on that net, and you do 12 deals that year. That's $600,000. That is a perfect amount of money, perfect, realistic, top of the bell curve amount of money that I think you can budget for. Mm-hmm. If you're crazy about it, some of the people in Career Path make 10 times that, many of them, because they're organized and they understand staffing. Most of them have already owned a business, so some of just the basic business stuff. They learn about the land business from us, but the basic business stuff, they learn that, owning a restaurant or owning a metal stamping company or a chain of convenience stores. And so that's very realistic. Are you going to make $100 million doing this? I think it's possible, but that's not the Land Academy model. If you want to make $100 million buying and selling land, this is probably a good place for you to start. But we don't, because we just looked at a deal.
But there's nobody above us.
Well, yeah, there's
Hold on a moment.
Well, listen, here's how if you want to make $100 million.
We are the top. We're the top of the.
If you want to make $100 million, if you brought a deal to us, somebody just brought a deal that's $12 million and they sell it for 20. And we said, no, that's just not what we want.
But wait. But let's be honest for real though. There is no other person like us out there doing deals as big as we are.
I'm not cutting us down here.
Okay. That's why I wanted to make sure everybody understood that this is the end.
The way that you would make that kind of money. You can make it bigger. Is if you got a junior acquisition position at a company like Toll Brothers and you work 10 years under somebody who, this is a pipe dream, work 10 years making a remedial salary, learning about how to buy farmland and converting it to subdivisions. And so you can do there. We have members.
People in our group. Yeah.
Just hold on a second,
okay.
Jill. All right.
I
mean, you're really pushing back on this, and I don't know why.
Because I feel like you're saying this is not the place, but this is the place.
Here's my point. Maybe Jill won't push back on this. We'll see. We'll see. You follow along with me, and we'll see together. Making $500,000 a year, working 4 to 8 hours a week is very, very realistic if your heart and soul's in it. If you want to make more than that, it's totally possible and feasible. And you're going to tick yourself up onto the right end of the bell curve and take it as far as you want. Are you going to end up in a jet flying around the country? Maybe. But that's not the Land Academy model. That's for the people that get to the tip end of the bell curve and see some other crazy thing in this that we haven't seen. I'm tired of pie in the sky. If you concentrate on
I heard
making $10 million your first year, you'll never get that first deal done. That's why I'm saying this.
Okay.
If you concentrate on sending 10 to 15,000 mailers out, intelligently answering the phone right, the mechanics of this business, you can expect to make up to, let's say your first year, $500,000. And then you can start to make some intelligent adult-like decisions about rolling money back into the business, going into a different state. And just, I want to bring serious reality in this business. In the past, we've had people come in, send a lot of mail out, don't go through the real. It doesn't happen now because we have a really good group of people right now, and understand, say, look around and say, this is not working. Where's my Ferrari?
I understand. You're just trying to differentiate us from other stuff and make sure everybody's getting the right point. This is not to come in and have a Rolex and a Ferrari. That's like not this group.
Right.
I guess that's it too. You're trying to correctly say, we're here to put our heads down, work hard, and make a dough. Like real good, consistent. And then you can dial it up and dial it back to whatever you want. Do we have people in here making crazy money? Yeah. You know, we do.
It's not $100 million.
But a year.
A year.
Thank you. But I mean, look, the framework, you need to understand it's you and what's possible. I mean, I'm never going to put a cap on anybody's limit, but I will say, I understand, please don't come in thinking that you're going to be that guy. You know, does that make sense?
Yeah, this isn't the lottery.
You sound very pessimistic today is where I'm going with this.
Well, we're not on the same page about what this means, you and I.
Okay. Well, then we'll use later today off camera to get on the same page. How's that?
Realistic. I want you to be realistic and shoot for $500,000 a year is my point.
To start. Or not even that. I'm going to say low.
From the point where you hit $500,000 that first year, that you hit $500,000, then I want you to go to 6.
Well,
then
hang on a moment.
8.
I wouldn't even do that.
And on and on.
Let's
so we're not.
Give a BK
She's
story.
Not on the same page.
We have someone, BK. BK was one of my favorite stories where he came in. We didn't even know about him until he was in year 3 or year 4. He's like, I came in, I made $50,000 my first year. I'm like, all right. Next year I made 100. The next year I made 250. And then the next year I made 500. And then he came into Career Path and he's on our radar. So he very calmly and consistently doubled his money every year to the point where he's like, yeah, now I don't want to work that hard. He's like, I've got it now where it's just me and a part-time assistant and a couple of VAs, and I have a great life. I have little kids and I love to hunt, and this is what I want to do. And you know who you are. So
now we're on the same page.
Well, yeah. And so I'm saying that is a very good, realistic story, and I want you to know. And that's a perfect approach, and we can absolutely help you with that. And then we also have people that join Career Path. They're already making $3 million, and now they want to make $6 million. I'm like, all right, let's talk about that. But yeah.
I totally agree with everything that Jill just said, and you can expect that after a bunch of hard work and
following
a healthy
what we tell you to do.
Healthy dose of
humility.
I guess I screwed that up pretty good. I'll figure that out on the next mailer.
Yeah.
I want to add an amount of realism to this, because I think there are a small select group of people that enter this or anything else and expect it to work for them. And that's just not how this works. You work for that. You work toward and make it yourself fit into the program.
Is this a side chat in Discord that I haven't spotted?
Mm-mm.
Okay. I'm just making sure. I'm like,
is
there a subgroup that's a little lost?
There's a subgroup that's lost.
Oh.
And it's a group that I was recently exposed to.
Oh, okay. We need to reel them back in.
Where it's just, I keep trying to say this final sentence, but I can't let it do it because my partner here is steering it in a different direction.
I understand.
You're my partner.
I know that. Well, you know what I think you're trying to say? This is not the lottery. You're not going to come in and send out one mailer
you keep saying,
and make $1 million.
I know you keep trying to tell everybody what I'm trying to say.
Sorry.
This is a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication. And if you do it right, you're going to hit the numbers that Jill just described BK hit with a lot of pride. You're probably going to quit your job. You're going to coach your kids' soccer team or whatever ends up happening and make a great living. You will not become Elon Musk doing this. If you start out trying to be Elon Musk, you will fail really soon, get frustrated because you took off too many big bites. You have to take it in small little tranches with little successes in. And if you understand that, that's the first, oh yeah, I did that over here with I had one convenience store and then 2 and then 15 and then 20. And then I sold the whole thing to Circle K. Then you understand that. And that's the kind of people we want in our group.
No comment.
That's how you get to the end of the podcast.
There we go.
Let's take another one of our favorite land acquisitions from our weekly Thursday member webinar.
Putnam County, Florida. Buy for $23.89. Sell for $12,000. Flat. A little wet. Yeah, I see the wet. I'm already out.
I'm
Right
out.
price.
Yeah. This is one of those tough ones too. I feel bad, Jeff. Then when you say, if you want to call back and say, you know what, I did some more recon and I just have to tell you, I'm not interested. I wish you all the best. And they go, well, wait, what would you pay? And it pulls on your heartstrings because you don't even want to say, I wouldn't even give you $100.
Yeah.
Like, because my time's worth more than that.
The real kicker for me is it's obviously wet, but
Yeah.
there are some cases where there's structures. So there's nothing. There are no structures here at all. So the usability of this property is recreation at best, and maybe not. Looks like it has access here.
Yeah.
Florida is packed full of what some people call these paper subdivisions, where somebody went and subdivided it all. This is long before subdivision regulations grew up the way that they are now. Like, so you can see this.
That's good to see.
I'm going to let this fill. So there's activity that's outside of this FEMA floodplain. Next one, Jill.
Okie dokie.
Jill, you have something inspirational to share.
Well, first I gotta wonder how many people listen to that at 3 speed or half speed. Like, oh, watch this. Like, I gotta slow this down. This is not going. They're not on the same page on this one.
If that entertains you, I wonder.
It does for me. We're not going to always be on the same page. You know what? And it's not that we're not on the same page. I think I describe it differently. I think I look at it differently and I describe it differently than you do. That's not that I don't believe in what you believe.
I know.
You know, and also too, this is going to be my inspiration then. My inspiration today is how much is enough? Because, you know, I'm going to go with that. So based on all these numbers that we're throwing around, we just had my Land Academy ladies call last week. And we get together once a month. And Samantha did a beautiful, great, very easy to read and understand and digest spreadsheet showing if you send out this much mail in the month and you do 1 deal and then you do 2 deals and then you do 3 deals. And then I think the most was 4. Maybe I think it was right around 2 or 3 a month that you're averaging,
geez,
right?
Okay, good.
And she's like, and here's the deal. And
That's
you put them,
great.
if you start off making 10,000 on a deal, and then you start off making 20,000, then you have a 10,000 and a 20, and you have a one that you make a 10,000 this month and a 30,000 this month. And this is, you know, and you sit and it was so calm and methodical.
That's what I was trying to say here.
Well,
in the
hold on a
topic.
moment. And then but it was in 2 years. This is like doing 1 or 2 deals a month, sending out between 5 and 10,000 units, not to start, but starting with like 5,000 units of mail in the beginning. You know, you could look up and go, wow. And your initial investment is 15 grand. You start off buying a property, like for 15 grand. That's all you kind of, well, and maybe it was just your mail even. But the point then at the end, you come up in 2 years, it was $500,000. There's nothing wrong.
That's so realistic.
With that.
That's my point here. You know, all kidding aside, boy, we are exactly saying the same thing.
Well,
just be realistic about this and it's going to work.
Well, and the thing is, from my inspiration today, how much is enough? Like, we were on a conference call with our team the other day, and we were talking about, you know, interest rates. What was our team? I remember who we were on the call with, and we were on a conference call, and I think it was Carl and Sam. And yeah, because Carl said, you know that the average American has like less than $10,000 of liquid cash right now. I'm like, are you flipping kidding me? He's like, no, that's how little cash people do. And I'm like, wow, that's shocking to me. So we'll digest that in a second. But for me, like, if the average American has less than 10 grand and you step into something new where you're like, boy, if I do it all, Jill, I followed everything you guys just talked about. I did it all wrong. And in 2 years, I only have $200,000. Like, oh, hello, big whoop. Look what you still did. Be realistic about this.
God,
and like,
that's my being realistic is what I want to talk about. So we can do this together.
okay. We can. I love when we meld everything together and do it all together. That's my favorite
It's just one
thing.
big ball of failure.
Let's work on another project together. Because that's also my extra favorite is when we try to close a deal together. Because we always win when that happens. No. So, but anyway.
Maybe know your partner is better.
When you don't know what the other person did all day, that's when you win. And you just see the bank balance. That's really when you win.
No truer words have ever been spoken. I don't know what she does, but
I don't look at the bank balance.
A lot of money keeps coming in.
Exactly.
And she says, "Yep, I'm not sure where he is."
Yeah, I don't know.
That's how you do it.
That's exactly right. So anyway, my thing is, my inspiration. Come on. Don't be greedy. But aim high. I want you to set some good goals for yourself, and then accept what comes back, change it, and really think about how much is enough. There's just like you said, there's a lot of noise out there. And, do I really need a Ferrari? No. Do I have a Ferrari? No. Like, come on. I don't have a Rolex either.
Reality is my whole point.
So
let's just pick a big dose of reality about. Yeah, you might, if you do it all wrong, you might make 200 grand.
Yeah.
I think, and if you're scoffing, there's a point. The reason I bring this up today is because as a young professional person, I would scoff at that. I would scoff at $200,000. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to work real hard to figure out how to make $200,000. You get a little bit older and you realize you got to put your soul into something to make 200 grand. Yeah. And then if your soul really it's working, you've tried 4 things and it didn't work. And then try this and it's like, hey, this works. Yeah, I put my soul into this thing, shot for $500,000 and made 250 instead. Well, now it's very possible, realistic actually, to make $500,000 next year, the year after that, because you proved it to yourself. You proved the system that you chose that actually works for you. You work for it. Now you're on your way to making $5 or $10 million a year and getting to the other end of that bell curve. That's very realistic in my opinion.
I completely agree. Did you have anything else you want to add that's informational, or we just roll it all in and I'm happy with that?
That was it.
Okay. Hey, don't forget, if you want to find out more, you're like, shoot, stupid wait list, what do I do? Just cut to the chase. You can send a note to my team via support@landacademy.com.
We are Jack and Jill. Information
and inspiration
to buy undervalued property.
We hope you find our content valuable and we appreciate your support. If you have not already, please check out our channel and hit the subscribe button.
And your comments and suggestions help us to create the content you're here for. Hitting the like button helps to support our channel's algorithm and gauge your interest for future shows.